The second part of Module 4 will start with paragraph formatting. So, paragraph formatting is an essential part of creating effective, professional-looking documents in Word. So, when a paragraph or when a document is formatted properly and the text is attractively spaced and positioned, the reader can focus on the content. Now, Word's paragraph formatting feature enables you to set values for paragraph alignment, indentation, and spacing between paragraphs. Now, Word's formatting features also enable you to remove paragraph formatting altogether. So first, let's start with learning how to set the indents. Now, you can use indents to set paragraphs off from other text in your documents. Word document can include a first line indent, a hanging indent, and a negative indent. Now, the commands for indentions or the indenting paragraphs are available in your home tab, where we are in now, and in your paragraph section or paragraph group. Now, you can see here different commands that you can use to format your paragraph. So we will be using these commands, or we'll be talking about these commands. Now, the indents can be seen here at the decrease indent and the increase indent. So these are the indent commands that you can use. Now, as I mentioned, there are different kinds of indents found in your MS Word. Now, when we say indent, of course, indent is a blank space inserted between text and the left or right margin. Now, first we have what we call a first line indent. So, a first line indent inserts blank space between the left margin and the first line of the paragraph, wherein a half inch is a default setting for this indent. So, this whole paragraph is following a first indent, or it follows the first indent, or it is in the first indent setting rather. So this is what you call a first indent, meaning the first line is indented and then the second line would already start from the left margin. Now, a first indent, as you can see here on the top, you can see that it is a first indent, or it's noted by this marker at the top. So this marker, if you select or move your cursor to that, you can see that it is the first line indent. So this marker controls your first line, or the indentation of your first line. Now again, by default, the indentation is set at a half inch. So you have the option to move the indents by just dragging this marker. Now, a hanging indent, here the second one, which is common in legal documents and bibliography pages, begins the first full line of the text in a paragraph at the left margin, which as you can see here. Then all the remaining lines in the paragraph are then indented from the left margin. So only the first line is not indented. So that is what you call a hanging indent. So a hanging indent, or to create a hanging indent, you can make use of this marker or at the bottom. So you can see this is what you can use to create a hanging indent. So you can see the difference of the positioning. The first line indent is at the left margin, while the hanging indent is what is placed at the point or half inch part of your ruler. So you can see the difference. Again, if you click the first line indent, you can see their places interchange. So that is the difference between a first line indent and a hanging indent. Now, a negative indent, it is when your paragraph extends to the left of the or if it is when your paragraph starts at the left margin. So you can see the margin is in this area, and then if you are following the negative indent, As you can see, your markers are already found at the gray area. So that is an example, or this is your negative area. So that is an example of a negative indent. So it is, or these markers can be used as your indication or as a tool for you to adjust your indentions. Now, aside from using that markers, you can also control the indention by going to the, or by simply using this increase indent or decrease indent, or if you want specific, you can just make use of the paragraph dialog box. You can see right here, there is a section for indentation. So you can see, you can adjust the left indentation, the right indentation, or you can have mirror indents. And then for special, here you can choose, it's either you want a first line indent or a hanging indent. And then by is the measurement, or the measurement of indentation. So in this case, our insertion point was still at the negative indent, so you can see it says here -1. Now if we move to the hanging indent, see, you can see that the indentation is considered as a special hanging, and then it is hanging by 0.75 cm. So you can change that to first line. So you can see here at the previous section, you will see what your paragraph would look like. So if you choose for the first line or the hanging. So still you can adjust how many cm would you like it to be hanging and so on. So that is how you set the indentions. Next, let's move on to setting line spacing in text and between paragraphs. So in Word, you can determine how much space separates lines of text, and you can also set the spacing between paragraphs. Now, by default, Word sets line spacing to 1.08. So again, by default, it is set at 1.08. Now, line spacing is paragraph-based and can be customized by specifying a point size. And then paragraph spacing, which affects the space above and below paragraphs, is set to 8 points, meaning the default is 8 points after each paragraph. Now, the higher the point size is, the greater the space between paragraphs. Now, where can we access the line spacing and the paragraph spacing options? So we have 3. First is the Home tab. Now, Home tab, and in the paragraph group, you can see here, this button is what you call the line and paragraph spacing command. So if you click on that, you can see different spacing options that you can follow. So let's try to highlight this first. Then as you can see, it's either 1 or 1.5, 1.15, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, and so on. So this is your line spacing options, and then for the paragraph, you can have add space before paragraph and after the paragraph. Now you can find other spacing options or specific options if you click this one, and then again you will be you will see the paragraph dialog box. Then below the indentation section is the spacing. So again, the default for paragraph is 0, and then the after is 8. That is the default. Now this section right here controls the paragraph spacing. Now this section here controls the line spacing. So you have different line spacing options. So either single, 1.5, double at least, exactly, and multiple, and then specify the points that you need to or you want to have. So that is how you can set your line and paragraph spacing options. Now you can also access it using the Layout tab. So here you can access the indentation and the spacing or paragraph spacing. So this is also another way in where you can edit or have access to your paragraph and line spacing options. Also, you can access it using the Design tab, and then this part right here, you have the paragraph spacing. Now, these are built-in options that you can have. So you have compact, tight, open, relax, and double. And then again, when you click custom paragraph spacing, you will be you can adjust your paragraph spacing to specific options. So this is the positioning, also the spacing and line spacing. So see again, the default for the paragraph is 8 point after. So that's how you can set your line and spacing options. So these are the specific or the different kinds of um, options that you can have for your line and paragraph spacing. So this part right here is what you saw a while ago, the one in the line spacing option. So as mentioned, single and then the specific descriptions. Now this part is the one you saw here in the Design tab, the built-in commands or the built-in settings. So still it is you can see right here the different settings in place. So for example, if it is tight, the before is set at 0, the after is set at 6, and then the line spacing is set at 1.5, and so on and so forth.